Welcome back to another episode of the Big Red with B. Schneid Show. We got a very special guest today. One of the guys I go to college with, Gio Carnazzo. I hope I said that right.
Oh yeah, you got it.
But anyway, Gio covers the Nebraska baseball team with me for the Daily Nebraskan. So we're going to give you a preview for what Nebraska faces, what they're going to have to go through, and how they could possibly make it all the way.
Yeah,
So anyway, Gio, be sure to follow he has a Twitter account. I believe, is it same, what's down in the bottom lower third?
I think it's the same. Yeah, it might be a little different.
But yeah, let's dive into it. So first off, Nebraska comes in at the 8 seed, taking on Michigan State, the 12 seed, and then of course they got number one Oregon. But man, is this tournament a funky format? Because if Nebraska drops the game on Tuesday, it's over. I mean,
Yeah,
they'll
it's
they'll still play Friday, but it'll be pointless.
yeah. I mean, assuming Oregon doesn't lose twice, it's pretty much the game tomorrow is going to decide it, which is crazy because I mean, I if I'm not mistaken, it's the only format in the country, at least for the power conferences, that's like it. I know the ACC used to do pool play. I think they went away from it though.
Yeah, and well, even if Nebraska loses, and they'd still, if Michigan State, then they beat Oregon, then Michigan State goes. So that's
Yeah,
where, I mean, you lose tomorrow, recording this on Monday night, it's over.
yeah.
But what do you think about the Huskers starting Ty Horn? Was that a surprise to you or?
I mean, yeah, it was surprising to me. I thought it was gonna be interesting to see who they went with, just because with kind of the short rest, depending on if you wanted to go with your best statistical pitcher is Brockett all year, but we talked about it a little bit. Um, just kind of pitching on Saturday and then coming back on Tuesday, even though he didn't throw for that long. I think he went 3 innings or maybe two. I can't remember exactly, but I mean, it's just kind of one of those things once you get to the tournament. I mean, everybody's going to have to throw eventually, but you have to get the first one here if you're Nebraska. And I think Ty Horn probably has, I would say, the best stuff out of the three guys who have been starting in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, now makes a guy wonder, Brockett going the 2 innings on Saturday. Is there a possibility he comes out of the pen? You think?
I, d- I don't know. Honestly, I thought about it because just with where they're at and with the consistency of their arms out of the bullpen and with how Timmerman pitched last week, I don't know. I mean, I honestly expected to see Timmerman just because he was the guy who went on Thursday. And I know he was really bad. Like I don't want to say he's really bad, but he was pretty bad. He gave up a lot of hits and a lot of runs, and it was not. It was definitely his worst start of the season. I mean, he hasn't started many games, but it was. I mean, you never want to go with a guy coming off of his worst performance of the year in a must-win game. But it's just their pitching staff got thrown into disarray as soon as McConaughey went down. And ever since then, it feels like they've been trying to figure out how to put it together and how to piece it together to have a combination that wins games. I mean, they just haven't found it all year. I mean, there's been bits and pieces where they've been okay, but for the most part, they've really missed McConaughey all year.
Yeah, I mean, you describe it best, and I think it describes the whole team as inconsistencies for Nebraska. But, we were talking, you brought up the idea of Tucker throwing, and I was thinking, okay, you go a Tucker Walsh kind of combo. If you even get three solid out of each of them, you'd feel pretty well about yourself for Nebraska. But, there's a very good chance Ty Horn can give you six. But then looking at Friday, I'm assuming you go Brockett. But
That's
you got to get
that's
this one. It,
it's we just don't know because I mean it's like you would assume you go Brockett, right? But I mean, they could, to be honest, like the way that they've approached it all year, if they see something matchup wise with a different guy, they could go with Timmerman or maybe even like depending on how many righties or lefties they have. I haven't really watched much of Oregon, but I could see them going anywhere, honestly, just with the way that th've approached this season on the mound.
well, and Nebraska's got, I know Michigan State's a 12 seed, and on paper, Nebraska is a better overall team, but Michigan State has one of the best aces in the country, in my opinion, with the Joseph. Tazarwa, however you pronounce his last name, probably botched it, but 8-3 on the year, 2.31 ERA. I mean, the lefty can deal. It's going to be a challenge for Nebraska if you're looking at, your especially with all the lefties in the lineup, no matter who you play, you're going to have two lefties out of the outfield. And then, uh, you probably, I'm assuming you don't go Stone at DH. He hasn't been with this bruise. Maybe he plays, but Nunez, he's a lefty batter. And then, you're going to really have to bank on your Gabe Swanson, your Dylan Carey, your Overbeek. Luckily, he's a switch hitter for him. But those three got to come through tomorrow for Nebraska, in my opinion. And Caden Brumbaugh, I should mention him too. Well, he's one of the best average
Yeah.
hitters on the team.
He's really been the only consistent guy, right? I mean, he's pretty much been around 300 all year, and he's been either, I mean, just depending on how Bolt wanted to approach each game. I mean, he's had him one, two, or three every game, I think. I mean, so it's Caden Brumball is kind of at the start of the year, he was everything for this offense, but lately it's kind of felt like he hasn't really been that involved in a lot of their wins. I mean, I know you've been to some of the games that I haven't been. Maybe he's been a little more involved at those games, but it's felt kind of like he's either gotten a little bit worn down at the end of the year just with how much of a workload he had early on, or maybe just has fallen into a little bit of like a mini slump here down the stretch.
All right. Well, it is tournament time. Now, we'll put you on the spot right here. Who, if anybody, is going to be the Josh Karen for Nebraska in the tournament?
It's got to be Gabe Swanson, right? I mean,
Yeah, I can't disagree there. I can't. I could maybe make an argument for Joshua Overbeek. They're both seniors. They have that kind of late season re, resurgence going, and
yeah.
Gabe's always been a May baseball player, so but they're going to need him, especially with this lefty. I mean, Nebraska has to take advantage of when they get runners on and not piss it away.
Yeah, I mean, I think Swanson's the guy with the power to get it out in Omaha. I mean, you never know how the ball's going to fly at that park just because depending on weather. I mean, right, it was pouring outside a little bit ago, and I mean, depending on how it is this week, it could be a tough park to hit in, but I mean, he's always at his best at the end of the year, it seems. And with Overbeek and Brumbaugh, I feel like I don't really think of either of them as power hitters. I mean, Brumbaugh for sure I don't. Overbeek, he hits the ball hard, but he doesn't really feel like a guy who's gonna hit 4 or 5 home runs in that park in Omaha. I mean, he could. I'm not saying he can't. He for sure has power. It's just I feel like with Swanson, he's more so of your prototypical power hitter, and then I mean, without Butenbach, I don't know if he's playing or not. It just depends. I mean, on how he's feeling, I guess. And then same thing with Stone. Those are really the two other guys who have given them a lot of pop at the plate down the stretch here.
Yeah, and that's something that is going to be intriguing to see tomorrow when the lineups come out is do you see a Max Butenbach or a Tyler Stone? I
Yeah,
mean,
I mean it's huge. If you don't see either of them, it's going to be really tough to score runs because I mean against that pitcher, it's already super tough. I mean he went 9 innings against the best team in the conference a week or two ago when they played Oregon. I think it was on the road too, wasn't it? In Eugene, he did that.
I believe so, but I'm not 100%
Yeah, I'm
sure.
not. I'm not 100%. Either way, I mean, it's super impressive. But yeah, it's you're gonna have to get him early, and along with that, Ty Horn's gonna have to keep them from jumping out to an early lead because it could just snowball from there. I mean, it feels like guys like that they pitch well with the lead, and if you get them early, then that's kind of where it can maybe turn into one or two can turn into a big inning, and all of a sudden you're up 4-0 early on in the game, and you could kind of manage it from there. But yeah, they're gonna have to find a way against him. He's tough.
If you get February, March Ty Horn, Nebraska screwed. But if you
Yeah,
get April, May Ty Horn, Nebraska, I think's in good position. And you kind of think about that. Some of those games that Ty really threw bad, the conditions were not that well, and when it kind of heats up, he heats up, and that's kind of a concern for Nebraska tomorrow. I mean, chance of showers. wind, high, I believe 60 degrees. So the biggest thing for him is you'll see Ty go out there and he'll retire the order. I mean, he'll retire 8 of the first 9, maybe give up a base hit or something, and then he goes through the second time through, and that's where, he'll allow back-to-back homers or
And that's
just extra
crazy.
base hits.
It's crazy that it's been that way, right? Because remember early on in the season when they played Vanderbilt, and I can't remember exactly who his second start was against. Maybe Louisiana, maybe that was his third start,
Yeah, it
but
was
his first
Louisiana.
two starts, he struggled in the first inning, and then he really settled in. And I think he retired like 14 of 16 against Vanderbilt after he gave up a run in the first inning, or some crazy number like that against one of the better offenses in the country. Like Vanderbilt's a really good team, and I know that they like RJ Austin was really good in that game. He was taking some really good swings, and I mean after I think he hit a solo shot in the first inning, or maybe it was a double, but he really shut down that team, and that's a really good team. And he showed an ability to do it, but just lately, it's kind of flipped on him. It's the first time through the order he's good, and then after that, he kind of struggles a little bit.
Yeah, I think I think if you're Bolt though, you gotta feel confident in going with Horn tomorrow. I mean, he's really the past month and a half, he's really pitched exceptional, I'd say. He really I mean, he really flipped the script. I know he's still got that five ERA around there, but still, I mean, he's given Nebraska a shot. Um, but yeah, I mean, going against uh the pitcher that Michigan State has, I mean, it's going to be tough. But you look at their lineup for what Ty is going to face, and it's not nothing sexy, anything sexier than Nebraska. I mean, they average a 267 as a team, and Nebraska's right at 277, so pretty similar. But when I was looking at their numbers and everything, they got Ryan McKay. He has the 322 average,
Yeah,
but
there's not power. I mean, there's one guy I think who has double-digit home runs. Other than that, it's
that's
mostly like
Sam
guys with
Bush.
8, 9,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
it's pretty similar to Nebraska's lineup, to be honest with you. I mean, you got a couple guys who are above 300, a couple guys who have some power, but other than that, it's mostly just pretty much. I mean, league average hitters, like pretty much in the middle of the Big Ten in terms of batting average and kind of slugging percentage and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting.
and you proved something really important there. Nebraska has to get on them quick. They cannot rely on this walk-off shit much longer. I
I mean,
mean,
it's been something that's kind of been building for a while. I mean, they've had issues with runners in scoring position against good teams. They've had issues with runners in scoring position against bad teams, and it's come back to bite them more often than not. I mean, the midweek games we saw it a little bit against teams like Kansas and Kansas State and Creighton, and I remember one game specifically. There was a quote from Bolt right after where I one of the reporters asked him about just the team in general and their ability to come off of a big like series win on the weekend and play well in the midweek, and he said we're incredibly inconsistent, and it just is. I mean that's usually the mark of an inconsistent team is a team who can't bring in runners in scoring position, at least not at the level that the best teams in the country can, right? Because if you can get guys on but you can't bring them in, and then along with that, if you can pitch well one night, but you can't, like that's the textbook definition of an inconsistent team. And it's crazy that they ended up being 15 and 15 in the conference and 28 and 27 overall. Because I mean that's just yeah. I mean
well, and to Nebraska's credit, I don't think a team wants to play Nebraska right now because of what they've done the past month. I mean, they've won all the series they've played that have been 3-game series, and they are playing tournament type baseball, in my opinion. They really are. I mean, they're getting it done. I mean, you go to Purdue on Thursday, and Tucker Timmerman gives up I believe it was 8 earned runs off 6 hits, and I believe 2+ innings. It's 8-0, and I know it's Purdue, but Nebraska wins that game 11-9. So you get that fight there, and then You take 2 of 3 against Michigan. I think their conference record was a little bit what's the word I'm looking for? Misleading, but still you take that. I mean, you take down Minnesota, which is was okay in Big Ten, pretty average. So I think Nebraska's sitting pretty well right now. And I think they're a team people want to avoid. And that's why I think they went on Tuesday. Oregon might be kind of a little bit worrisome because Nebraska can take down the top dogs. Just like the basketball team, they're giant killers. Nebraska, I mean, you take 2 of 3 against top 10 Oregon State, you beat down Vanderbilt. This team's got the talent. Now, are they going to put it all together? Because if they put their bats and their pitching together from their highlights, I think that this team very well could make a run and possibly get to the semis and maybe even win it all.
Yeah, I mean it's super interesting just looking at the matchups because I honestly like coming into today before we heard about who was pitching for Nebraska and Michigan State, I considered that maybe they wouldn't pitch their ace against Nebraska just because of how well he pitched against Oregon when they played them within the last couple of weeks. And I mean it's interesting that just to see kind of like the chess match between some of the coaches. I mean, you got Oregon gets the day off because they're the highest seed, and Nebraska's coming in there pitching Horn, which he's for the most part been their most consistent starter, at least out of the guys who have been in the rotation all year. And it's so interesting to look at kind of everything that's going on with the lineup, and some guys could play, some guys could not play, but they are dangerous, like you said. I mean, it's a team who went into the tournament last year. They went and ran the table to get into the NCAA tournament, and a lot of those guys are back this year. I mean, you got Overbeek, you got Swanson, you got basically everybody but Karen who really drove the bus on that team, except for the pitchers on the mound, which is the big missing piece, I feel like, for this team.
I think you hit it right where it's at. But I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, what would you do about the tournament format? Because it just doesn't make much sense. That I know I opened up talking about it, but Nebraska, Nebraska wins. Did we lose a Gio?
No, you're good. I'm just the lighting in here is weird. We're good.
Okay. Anyway, you lose Tuesday, and then I mean you still play Friday, but you don't got much to play for.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
because even if Nebraska takes down Oregon, it's highly doubtful they get an at-large bid for a regional.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting because there's a lot of upperclassmen on this team, and it kind of just comes down to playing for pride on Friday if you can't or
Well,
Thursday. I can't. Yeah, if you can't get the win on Tuesday, and so
well, if Nebraska wins and we have time, we're going to do a special show previewing the Oregon game if we all have time. But, looking at Oregon, let's say Nebraska wins, or they're going to play them either way. But I mean, Oregon, the 294 team batting average. They have Mason Neville, 26 homers, 56 RBIs. Jacob Walsh, 19 homers, 59 RBIs. Maddox Melanie, Dominic Hellman at another 27 homers combined. I mean, you're going to have your hands full. And, it might actually set up for a Tucker Timmerman type game. Nothing against Jackson Brockett because he is the most consistent starter, but Tucker's one of the guy that you think can maybe get some strikeouts and kind of
yeah, he had that outing before the last one that was so dominant, right? I mean,
against Michigan. Yeah, he just
yeah,
killed it.
he was so good. We talked to Bolt after the game. He's like, it was his first start coming off of the injury. I mean, he had pitched, but he hadn't started really, at least not to that extent. And it was,
Yeah, 7 innings.
yeah. And Bolt said after I asked him, I was like, did you like how difficult was that decision to try and figure out when to pull him from the game because he was coming off of that injury and he hadn't gone that long in a game. And he basically said, he's like, look, I mean, he was dealing and he was feeling good. I was going to let him go as long as that would take him. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but yeah, it was kind of just one of those things where I think he was on such a heater that night that they just let him keep going. And if he could do that again in the Big Ten tournament, and save some bullpen arms, I mean, that could be huge. Or if a guy like Ty Horn could do that, I mean, in the same vein, if you can save bullpen arms in a tournament like this, it's massive.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, Gio, tomorrow night, 6 o'clock, Nebraska, Michigan State. Who you got?
I mean, I gotta take Nebraska, right? Just the home, just because of I've seen them play more, and because of the seedings. I mean, 8 versus 12,
Yeah,
but
it is
it
pretty much a
is.
home game.
Yeah, I'll go. I'll go 3-2 final. 3-2 final. Nebraska wins. Late run in the ninth gets him over the edge.
Okay. And what do you think Ty goes?
I think Ty's gonna go probably five. I think he could go longer, but I don't know if they're gonna really prolong him depending on how tight the game is. If it's tight, I don't think they're gonna try to run him through the order 3 times.
Yeah, I think Nebraska takes it around probably a 6-4 ball game. And I think you only get about four out of Ty. I don't know. I'm thinking Ty g goes through good, but I think he kind of might have a rough fourth inning and he'll get through it, but give up about 2 runs and then they might go to Will Walsh, I think, out of the pen. But I
Yeah,
don't know. I mean, we'll see.
like
Um,
my light bulb is like going out. So
it's all good. You got storms and everything. So
yeah.
anyway, you want to touch on some softball really quick? How about Nebraska softball? Wow.
Yeah, that was something. I mean, LSU loses twice. They didn't even have to play them. Play the
Yeah.
host team. It was pretty crazy. Jordy Ball goes what 4 for 5?
Five for
That's
five with four
five
home
for five.
runs.
Yeah,
Four home
that's
runs.
ridiculous. I mean, just the most ridiculous performance I've seen. I got to watch him play against I believe it was their last home series. It was senior day, and I mean it was just ridiculous. It was kind of just a matter of when, not if, they were going to run rule the team that they were playing, and it's just the offense is so it's honestly just I mean it's a wagon. It's there's no other term that you can use for their offense. It's a wagon, and it comes down to Jordy Ball on the mound if she can basically do what she's done her entire career on the bump. On the circle, I don't. They say circle, I think in softball, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, if she can do what she's done at Oklahoma and at Nebraska, basically her whole career, I think they have a shot to make the Women's College World Series. Which, I mean, for Nebraska fans, that would be huge because I mean, all that people want around here is a winner, and you get it in volleyball almost every year. You get it in women's softball too. That's a sport that's new. It's unique. I mean, people haven't seen them go that far in the tournament in a really long time. So it would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I mean, they got that 3-game series with Tennessee to decide it all, and I mean they took them down in the very first game of the season. So Nebraska can do it. And I mean they're just when they get on an opponent, they just roll them. So I agree. So anyway, I want to thank Gio for coming on. Be sure to follow him on Twitter and pay attention to this content he'll be publishing for Nebraska baseball during the Big Ten tournament on the Daily Nebraskan. So anyway, we'll close her out there and maybe we'll be recording a Nebraska win and preview for Oregon later this week.